Picking the 10 best G.I. Joe classified series of the year is tricky. Unlike some other lines where, oh man, this figure would have been really great if they used a different mold, or oh, this figure should have been on the list, but it came out too short, or it's too tall, or the paint job is just really sketchy. I don't really have those easy outs with the classified series line. It's always more of a, I just kind of like this character more, or I like the colors on this figure more. It's never an issue of execution. It's always the figure looks great. They did it as well as I could have imagined. I rarely have anything like, you guys really dropped the ball with this figure. Nope. It's just, wow, I kind of like this figure a little bit more. And even though I came up with my top 10 list and have a few honorable mentions, there's that nagging feeling of, yeah, you probably should have this figure that you have in the honorable mention category as high as number 7. So there's a lot of, I'm not as confident with my second half of my list. I feel like my top 5 I'm pretty solid, secure with, but my maybe I should just say my top 14, my top 15, because it was just so much greatness in a year, continuing a trend for this line where all they do is win, more great figures, and all we do as collectors of this line is win because there's so many great figures. But which ones did I choose? What did I settle on for my top 10? Which really great characters and great figures ended up on my honorable mention list? Let's find out right now. What's up, everybody? It's Jeffrey Lyles welcoming you to the final edition of Lyles Figure Files for 2024. Got a few more hours left in the year, and I was determined to get this done before it turned to 2025. It's done. Got this in the works right now. I've done Star Wars Black Series, I've done WWE from Mattel, I've done Marvel Legends, I've done Star Wars Black Series. Now it's time for G.I. Joe Classified series. The line is basically flawless to me because every time they put out something new, it's like, well, that's another winner. So 2024 was a year of winners. I don't have any of the 60th anniversary figures on my list, even though they're really strong figures. I just don't have the space for random non-name Joes at this point. It's crazy. I had to take a video now that I got my Dragonfly up in place. By the way, the Dragonfly is my number one. It took some deliberation, but the Dragonfly is my number one G.I. Joe HasLab of the year. I'm not putting it in the vehicle category because something that costs twice as much as everything else should be the best vehicle for the year. And it's kind of cool because there are some actual contenders on the vehicle front. It wasn't just, this is the only thing that came out, so I guess it wins. Now, this was a nice year to contend for, or actually think about which vehicle I like the most. Hopefully that continues next year, but wow, really fun to get multiple vehicles from the G.I. Joe Classified series line. So let's break it down. Let's take a look at my honorable mentions, and I'm already second guessing, kind of going, man, they could have been in the top 10 in another alternate timeline, maybe in your top 10. So let's start off with honorable mention number 1, the Night Creeper. These guys look great, and they've got such a cool design. G.I. Joe is starting to trend a little too heavy for me into the ninja front, but these guys look cool. And if you're going to have Storm Shadow join the Joes, you've got to just have a massive army builder ninjas to fight against him and Snake Eyes, because otherwise it's just not fair. Fortunately, next year, Cobra Ninja Force is going to get some reinforcements with Slice and Dice. But for now, these guys will have to do. And I just love their basic look. They've got so much going on with the design. They definitely stand out and certainly look like a pack where it's like, yeah, you got to have like 5 or 6 of these guys. The colors are just kind of all over the place, but they still work. I like the silver chest plate. And we got that in like these 3 sectional deals. We got the visor. We got the scarf wrapped around the helmet piece. It's just so many cool elements to this design. We've got the shin armor. That looks cool. Camouflage pants. I mean, the design is wild. And what I really like about this figure is how easy it is to come up with different configurations. So if you do army build like crazy, there's so many fun options. You could have one Night Creeper holding the sword to the left, this one here You can have the other one holding this, or you can have your third using the crossbow bolt. You can have one holding the shuriken in his left hand. You can have another with the two daggers, the two knives, and they've got those really cool curved blades. Then you can start switching and mashing up. One is holding one dagger, holding this sword. The other's holding this one and holding that. So there's so many different options. And then when you start throwing in these alternate helmets, you've got a real party in terms of how you can mix and match an army of night creepers and not have too many looking the same. So I really dig that. And I love these pictures, of course, shooting the galaxy. Maybe there's another character from my top 10 in this picture in the background, but and then it can work. You see this, you can stir all this stuff or store all this stuff, not stir, but it's really cool. And I thought their design was really fun and they really did a good job executing these figures. Here's another weapons configuration you can have shuriken, the knife. So it's really cool. And I dig these even more so because Walmart had that crazy sale where they were selling these guys for $9. I wish it were $9, like $12.39, something like that. That was a crazy price for a classified series who make for really great army builders. So I was like, yeah, let's just keep going. So I have 5. 5 is typically my unless it's a Cobra Trooper or Viper. That's where I need to stop with the army building because once I show you this video how my classified series collection is set up, you're like, dude, you don't have any more space for 2 more figures. I'm still trying to figure this out. Gotta get some risers for my Cobras because I don't know where all the space went. Oh, yeah, went to army building. So the night treat. I don't know why I keep trying to change their name. The night creepers are fully staffed at 5 members. And then, of course, I'm going to have slice and dice. Hopefully we get some generic, just basic red ninjas as well in the mix because I feel like they're skewing a little bit more to cartoon. Maybe some comic book love we can see in 2025. So love to get them, but really loved how the Night Creeper turned out. So definitely why they make the honorable mention list here. All right, so next up, another honorable mention is Jinx. And she was really, really hard to just put as an honorable mention. I'm like, ugh. But I don't really have a good explanation as to why she's just an honorable mention character. Maybe it's because I like the full sleeves from the original figure. I mean, I think this looks cool, showing off that really great tattoo. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But I think they did a really nice job with Jinx. Maybe she's a candidate for a retro figure where they do all of the old school look to her. But in terms of modern update, this figure is really great. And I love how, sorry for that mic shatter to your ears. I love how we can get the classic G.I. Joe the movie look where you have the blindfold that just fits over her eyes. Then you've got the old school portrait with the mask look. And then she's got all kinds of different ways you can display her, which is very fun, very cool. And Beachhead, get ready. She might be staying for a while, partner. And she's ready for action. Watch this Dreadnought Jinx. Oh, that's right. You can't see. Blind, baby. Blind to the facts. But she's a really cool figure. And then jump kicking, torch. Get out of here, you bozo. So really cool again. Gets a little tricky trying to figure out where these figures go in the top 10 list of G.I. Joe Classified series. But Jinx, definitely a strong candidate for any list. If you have her as your number 1, I'm not going to fight or argue with you at all because really nice figure. Another honorable mention. I have 4. I saved stacking multiple honorable mentions just for Classified series so I could get away with it. This guy, Naugahyde. I just think he's such a cool Dreadnought, and he was one of the few characters that I actually did enjoy on the DIC cartoons. And he's got some animal sidekicks that I think make a lot of sense for him as this poacher. And his costume is so well designed, and he's got all the gear. And the one thing that was interesting with him was he just reuses a lot of accessories and weapons from previous figures in the Real American Hero line. And so for the Classified series, like, well, they've already used this part. But it's like, that makes sense. That's the whole deal. I mean, he's a poacher. He just steals from everybody. So there you go. He's using everything again. But I think they did a really nice job with him. He's got a lot of personality. He looks really cool just hanging with the rest of the Dreadnoughts, which is always fun for me. And let's see here. Is this the? I mean, he's got a lot of gear. He's got that sniper rifle. But see, here he is posed with the dreadnoughts. He's got Zorana. We got Naga. We got Ripper. And I'm pretty sure at the bottom I got the full on. But here's him with his animal sidekicks in action, ready to go. And he came with so much gear. He was one of those figures where you got him on discount on clearance when Target was like, here, take everything. He was a steal. I think it was like $20 or something. That was really good. I think he's discounted now for 31. Still not a bad price, but yeah, this guy has a ton of stuff. It's just so much fun to have this guy in the collection. We got Pork Belly, we got Yobo. He is ready for action, gonna do his thing. So it's just cool. I love that Yobo actually has an eye patch. That's just so wild and crazy. Here's your full shot of this incarnation of the Dreadnoks. Buzzer, fix your sunglasses, dude. But yeah, this is great. More Dreadnought action, more Dreadnought fun, and with a classified series collection, really stacking those Dreadnoks. Spoiler, he's not the only one to join this list. So another top 10 choice of mine, not top 10, honorable mention, haven't even gotten to the top 10 yet, is this guy, Big Boa. And this will kind of pain me to leave off because I think they did so much in terms of giving him accessories, gave him that big menacing bully look. And I was just like, ugh. I should have just cheated, said top 15 with these guys. Call it a day. Save myself some quote unquote stress. But he's fun. He's got weights to just pummel his opponents. He's just a big dude. So he's like right up there in the size of Sergeant Slaughter, Roadblock. He's got this portrait where he's missing a tooth, which is kind of funny, although he's a moron because he's losing a tooth when he's supposed to be the Cobra instructor. And he's got the big helmet on. He's got boxing gloves so he can really do his thing. He's got some wrist tape hands with blood on them, which is a really nice touch. And he just looks crazy and menacing and ready to go to town and beat up Joes. And he's just pummeling poor Chuckles here while the Vipers are laughing in the background. Get him, Big Boa. So really cool. Great addition to the line. And those villains from 87 were a lot of fun. And so here he is. Is he going to be the only one? We'll see. But really dug him. And by the way, going Christmas, ugly Christmas sweater with this Cobra sweater, although I just think it looks cool. Anyway, let's go back to the list, and now we're finally into the top 10 now. And this guy, undeniable. I know when we got the early reveals of the Dragonfly with the tears, I was screaming bloody murder. Where is this guy? And Emily was like, calm down, you small little children with your temper tantrums. He's coming. He's just not coming as part of the Dragonfly. And then seeing him in hand, seeing those pictures, I was like, oh, this is so cool. He looks great. Of course, I'm talking about Airborne, my number 10 on my top 10 of classified series for 2024. This dude is great. Now, you might notice he is rocking a gun that is not the one he came with. A Crimson Guardsman had to give it up for the greater good because that's what Airborne was rocking. And his head sculpt is amazing. I thought they did such a great job with it. He looks cool. He's got this steely determination in his eyes. He's got a backpack. The colors really pop. I mean, he looks so cool. And you can do the different thing. They've done another trick with the goggles where you've got this piece like the figure has, and then you can put some actually on over his eyes. That's cool. You can't rock them with the helmet, but whatever. Really fun figure. Let me see if I did insert this one with him in Spirit Iron Knife because, the Joe Cavalry is Airborne joke. But I mean, he's got so much gear. He's got these goggles. So as he's parachuting down or dropping in, he's got the ability to see where he's aiming from. Got his sniper scope or silencer there. He is so well decked out. He just looks so cool. Check that out. I mean, this is all the stuff he comes with. And, I was a little upset about the lack of the real gun, but whatever. It's cool. And you got this ability, so you can put this on. Airborne's colors really help him stand out. I thought he was one of the more fun ones from that 83 series. And there we go. That's my picture from Spirit and Airborne going to rescue Snake Eyes at the cabin where Fred, Firefly, and Destro are storming the way. I just need my Fred figure so I can complete that whole thing. But there we go. That is the squad, the 82 squad. Still need to review my guy and shoot some photos with him so he can fully join the team. I'm talking about Tripwire, but this squad looks really cool and really bad. And maybe Airborne's not the only one from this list, but I love that lineup of Joes. Felt like they were such a great supplemental team to join the ranks of Stalker, Snake Eyes, Scarlet, Flash, Rock and Roll, etc., without taking anybody's spot. They filled in some nice gaps. We got our medic, we got our snow trooper, we got our Marine, our SEAL, and our parachuter, Airborne, joining the crew. Other vehicle driver, cover girl. Don't want to leave her out there. But number 10, Airborne, great figure, very well executed. And I've got him hanging out with Wild Bill now in the Dragonfly. My number 9 one, and I tried really hard to debate. Do I want to put a bunch of retro figures in here? Because they're basically the make goods off of earlier figures. But in this case, it was unavoidable. And I actually absolutely had to include them because I really wanted this version of Beachhead. The original version we got of him was just fine. It was not bad at all. He didn't have as much maneuverability and posability things to their best. This one's so much better. I mean, this captures that kind of sneaky conniving, like I'm gonna get under Cobra's skin and I'm going to beat down these new recruits. Beachhead that I envisioned from watching a cartoon. And I love this head sculpt. I think it's so well done. He just looks like Beachhead. He's got a bad attitude. And I don't know how you convey that with just showing his eyebrows and his eyes, but they managed it just fine. This is the old Beachhead, so you can see that guy kind of needed an upgrade once they started doing the more traditional real American hero looks. Because I've been a G.I. Joe fan and been collecting the Valor versus Venom era, the POC, Pursuit of Cobra, I was fine with these tweaks and new looks for the Joes, but Beachhead was definitely one where it's like, well, if y'all if y'all are really going to go back to the classic real American hero looks, Beachhead is one that desperately needs it. And when we got that, the colors are very accurate to the original figure. This old one, I mean, this first one, again, fine. I didn't have a real problem until we started going to the throwback looks, and this one's so great and so exactly what I wanted from Beachhead. And the Classified Series team just knocked this guy out. He looks so good. Hanging out with fellow 1986 teammate Sergeant Slaughter, General Hawk, and being able to just deck him out with all his gear. He's got his crossbow. He's got his knife. He's ready for some sneaky action. And he's just so cool. He's about to take out Dr. Mindbender, back up maggots in your face. And he just looks cool. And I think they did so well with the camouflage on the pants. That was something we weren't getting earlier. And he's just got so much gear laid out and ready to go. Didn't have to add any new parts for him. He is solid, ready for action. And here's our shot here of the team from 1986, General Hawk Squad. That's about to get some serious reinforcements very soon with the addition of Leatherneck and Dial Tone. So there we go. Beachhead retro version, my number 9 figure, and my top 10 G.I. Joe Classified Series list of 2024. Next up, as promised, things are heating up. It's Torch. He's coming in hot. At number 8, the knock is hot. And I really love this figure. I mean, they didn't mess around and go, hey, let's give him removable glasses. Nope, just sculpt him on. I don't need to look deeply into Torch's eyes. I'm good. He's got that whole crazy facial hair thing going. I mean, they nailed his head sculpt. He looks menacing. I kind of dig the tattoos. I think they kind of work for Torch. His vest, all the skulls, he's just rocking it. He does not care. His flamethrower with skulls is really fun and cool too. And love this package art. He just like, wow, man. He looks ready to go and start causing some major chaos and destruction. Here's how he looks against. He's finally joining the rest of the Dreadnoughts. So the Ripper was 102, Buzzer was 106. They were part of the same wave. It took to 123, but now we've got the core original 3 Dreadnoughts. So, maybe even just for that reason, I was so ecstatic to get him. But they really did the good work here. So you can see the chains on the back of the vest, the studs on this portion of it, flames on the jeans because he likes fire. And he just looks ready to cause some problems for the Joes. And they all scale up just great. So you can see he's not out of scale. He's not too tall. He matches up great. Ripper's a little bit heavier. Torch is kind of in between. Buzzer's slender. He's more the thinker of this original group of Dreadnoughts. Kind of dig that because he joined up with them later because he's not a real true Dreadnought, as we know. He just kind of was studying them and decided, hey, I am part of these guys after all. And Torch could do all kinds of fun stuff. He's got that cool little deco on the back of his flame tank, his propane tank. What do we call it? Anyway, who cares? And the Dreadnoughts try to get some information out of Duke. Zartan's looking on in the background, and just he's got some pistols in case he needs to put the flamethrower down. Classic photo here. Torch versus Barbecue, who is going to get put out. But I really loved how they pulled this guy off. I thought he looks really cool. Great job on him. So my number 8 is Torch. Next up, when Torch is burning everything down, we might need somebody to help the Joes heal up. And that's why we got to bring in Doc. And yeah, this guy is really fun. I love how they changed up his classic look. That said, I still might go down and grab a retro version if they were so inclined. But I dig how they did this. You can check the pill bottles on his helmet. They've got the signature white top, the orange. So that's cool. It's like, hey, I've got my aspirin right here, buddy. You don't even need to call me in the morning. He's got his watch, medic. And he's got all these little pouches, which are modular. You can move them around as you need to, which is really fun. He's got a taser. He's got his taser. What is the other one he's got? The flare gun. That's right. So he can do all kinds of things and still be true to the pacifist that is Doc. I love this art portrait. I just thought it made sense for him because he's outsmarting Cobra without even having to pop off a firearm or anything. And you can take this off if you want to. I'm cool keeping it on. I mean, I think it just makes sense for the medic to be fully protected when he's going on because he might have his back to everybody. They add a little gray to his temples, which is fun. I think that makes a little bit more sense there. So he can be older. You don't want the fresh out of college doctor operating on you in the battlefield. He comes with a stretcher in his backpack, which I thought was such a really fun addition. The original Doc, of course, had that. And here you can see he's got a stretcher, which kind of folds up as part of his backpack. And that was such a really well done accessory piece for him. It's not just a random stretcher. You can actually take it into action with him and he can hold it as well. And here you go with the taser. That's fun. The flare gun, they can both move all over you need them to. Let's pop that torch. Let's get out of here, Joes. So you can see all the gear he's got. You can see through those glasses, which I really like. This is something I really wish McFarlane Toys would do. Incorporate that transparent, translucent material for the goggles so you can see into the character's eyes if they're wearing goggles or sunglasses or whatever. But Doc looks really great. He's about to grab some aspirin, and he just is really well executed. I know some people are like, hey, pull those sleeves down. Give us more of a retro look, but I'm digging this. So here you go. Here's the stretcher folded up on his backpack. It doesn't look ridiculous, and 2 Joes can actually hold it and support it pretty well, and most Joes will fit on it without any real problem. So you can see how early he was in the list of last year's or this year's releases because I don't have all the other ones from it. But yeah, I really was happy to get Doc, and I think they did a great job with him and kind of modernizing his look for 2024. Again, I could definitely see them making him a retro candidate. So if you don't like this look, I mean, they may give you a streamlined version later, but I dig it. I think they really took the challenge of how do we update Doc, make him cooler, add a few elements to him so he can still handle himself in case some Cobra Troopers get away, say Major Blood, Scarface. He can still do the thing and save General Flag this time. But yeah, great job with Doc. He was my number 7. Time for number 6. And let's go quickly now with Quick Kick. Love this figure. And again, this is one I was like, I can't believe this is just the 2024 release. They did an awesome job with him. Love his head sculpt. He comes with so much gear. He's got his sword. He's got nunchucks. He is ready to go. And he was really fun to pose too. And he's got great balance, multiple head sculpts, which is something I think we've been clamoring for a while. You see this. This is probably one of my favorite packages of all of 2024 because we've got the sea leopards. I think that's what they were, sea lions. And you see Storm Shadow in the background. So I'm just going to imagine he just jumped over to help Alpine and Bazooka uh, after he's thrown the stars and knocked him out. But whatever. Well, still an action shot. I dig it. And he's got great articulation and he can really do all the stuff a martial arts expert should be able to do. And he's got some fun accessories, and his accessories are even more fun. This is at this stage of 85, this is how it compares to Bazooka, Flint, Lady J. We already know we're getting a great retro version of Flint, so that'll be fun to add. And here's more of that 85 team. My favorite era of G.I. Joes. I'm not going to get tired of saying that, but really cool because, I mean, we had everything here. We had a rocket launcher, dude. We had a desert trooper. We had a sailor, martial arts, not our ninja. We had our covert ops, and we had a leader in Flint. So very cool. And you can have him battling Storm Shadow, anybody else. And he's got a great center of balance too, so he can do some poses. You can really have fun with him, taking out a squad of Cobra troopers, just doing a thing, or battling it out with Storm Shadow. And I did that so much when I opened that figure. But you can check out these accessories, which I love. He's got frozen fudgies. How awesome is that? That might be the best accessory of all 2024. And then he's got a throwing shuriken set up here where it's in motion. So it's got that little effect thing, like it's trailing. Very fun and cool. And you can see he's just battling. I had too much fun having him go after Storm Shadow. That's what I wanted to do for a while. He's not going to be able to make it. I mean, he's not Snake Eyes. I love putting these two on missions. So that was really cool. And yeah, but it's like, here it comes. And you can see his nunchucks fold into the little loops on the back of his belt. That was cool. And his katanas, his swords fit into his backpack so he can hold everything except for the frozen fudgy and that star. At least he can hold them in his hands, though. So that's really cool. And seriously, the best accessory, maybe the greatest hard to beat accessory for 2024. You read it on Lyle's Movie Files, and I agree. So very cool. And now I've got another member to join this picture. So there we go. I did this little shout out to G.I. Joe issue 52 and had a blast doing it. I really had a good time with this guy, as you can see. But there's more of that 85 lineup. I really need the retro version of Ninja Snake Eyes now. And we're getting there. Almost done with this picture. Got Footloose coming. Just need airtight now, but we're almost there. So that's my number 6 member of my top 10 quick kick. Now it's time to get into the top 5. Who could be next? Let's go with these guys. Mut Junkyard. And I mean, they're a classic duo in G.I. Joe. Mut Junkyard's introduction to the comic was amazing. That was when Larry Hama was like, here's everybody. Here's Firefly. Here's Wild Weasel. Here's Artan and the Dreadnoks. Here's Storm Shadow. So many great characters got introduced in such a quick, short amount of time. But Mut Junkyard really stood out. I think this figure is so good because it just captures this guy's personality so well. His helmet, you can see the nice little coloring on the goggles there. You got that gold, the muzzle, a little bit of extra design to it, the hairy forearms. He's got some nice gloves here, a little bit different patterns. You can see he's got a little padding here, and then he's got more of a dog handler, left hand or left forearm setup. Junkyard is amazing. And this set was great, and it was cheap too. I mean, you could have gotten this one for as low as like $20 at one point. This Target was just basically giving them away, and I love this set. I got it from GameStop. I used a lot of my points to get it down to a cool cheap amount, but Target was, here you go. Here's another great sale. Watch out for Fiona back there, gang. Mutt's head sculpt is amazing. He just has so much attitude. He's like pissed off, and he is not here for any shenanigans. I love that he's got a little scrape here. He just has so much personality. And again, the chest hair showing up there. His color scheme is so fun. I always thought Mutt was a cool character. Love dogs, so I immediately fell for these two. And the cartoon cemented it. And come on, Chunk. So These guys are great, and I thought they did a bang up job with these two. I mean, Mud has so much great detail, great colors. Junkyard has all kinds of things. You could take this vest off of him if you really wanted to, but I didn't care. I was like, fine, keeping that on him. Great personality with him too. Here's the 83 lineup for that point in time when I did my shoot there. Just Duke, Roadblock, and Spirit Iron Knife. And you can see love that there's different heights of these guys. And you can have so much fun with these guys. You can have Junkyard, who's got great articulation. You can sit down, get petted like a good boy. He can go in action. He's got an intense head sculpt too. So love it. The only thing that was missing was that Mutt needed an Uzi, like his original Real American Hero figure had. So I did add that in from one of my Snake Eyes figures. Pretty happy with that look. And he and Junkyard are ready for action, ready to do it up, and just a great set of figures here. And you can see there's so much you could do with him. He's got all kinds of weapons, different hand gestures, so you can tell Junkyard to hold up. You can pet him, and yeah, they're fun. And hey, nice of those jokers to leave their car, the keys in the car, huh? And hey, little meeting. So good stuff. And there they go. That 84 squad ready for action. And really good set. Let's see where else we go now with this top 10, because that was a good one. Really enjoyed those two. Now it's time for number 4. How fast is this countdown going? I feel like this one's taking longer because I'm excited about the Joes. I haven't actually finished my photo shoot for him, so you're going to have to deal with the stock photos. But we got Bazooka. We got Quick Kick this year. The only thing missing was the Yodelay. Ooh. Oh, yeah. So, I got to put out the call for Alpine. He is my number 4 figure from the Classified Series line this year. There we go. Words work. And he's got a lot of reuse, but they make sense because he can use that hook from Arctic Storm Shadow. Makes perfect sense. He's got some nice axes, so he can go climbing up mountain scaling. I think they're ice axes, but whatever. He's got the grapple gun set up from the Alley Viper and the machine gun from him too. He's got his hat and he's got his goggles, both removable. And I think his setup is pretty cool. I wish he had a backpack though. I feel like that's the one thing missing, even though he probably doesn't need all of that when he's got all his gear kind of compacted on him. Whenever we see a retro version of him, his jacket's a little bit more open than the original figure. At least the jacket is lower now. It's not riding up like the old one did. And he's giving a shout out to Idaho. What up, Idaho? You can just see how much fun you can have with this guy. Put him on top of your shelves, put him on top of your couches, going for it. Because, I mean, hey, why not? So you can see how he's got everything set up and displayed on him. He is ready to scale some mountains and go to work over there and go to battle. So great to have Alpine. I loved him in the cartoon. I wish he got a little bit more run in the comic book. He was cool there, but man, cartoon is one of my favorites. Man, Flint sure likes to talk a lot, doesn't he? That was my favorite episode of G.I. Joe, the Fun House. So much cool stuff going on in there. And it was like, yes, this episode's great. So Alpine is my number 4 choice. Time to go retro. Spoiler with the rest of my top 10. Let's start off with this guy. This is where it started a little bit tricky again, because it was like any one of them could be number 1, any one of them could be number 2 or 3. And I just decided on this order. Ask me again tomorrow. It might change up. Number 3 is Duke. And I think the reason why I put Duke as number 3 is his original Classified Series figure was not bad. I didn't have any issues with it. I know some people didn't like all the techie designs and all that stuff with him, but I thought it was fine. He wasn't one as desperately in need of a reboot of an updated figure, some of the other ones, which is why he's 3. But I mean, this figure is fine. Now, yeah, he's got a lot of colors going on. The orange parts don't make a lot of sense. We've got some blue stripes running along there too, but he's fine. The head sculpt I thought was really good too. But the Real American Hero version that we got from this retro one is incredible. It looks great. It's like, okay, since you decided you needed to do this, I'm not going to quibble. And this figure is awesome. Great head sculpt. A lot of it's using parts from the first Duke figure, but he just looks better. And I still have the first Classified Series Duke. I occasionally pull him out in action, but man, this figure is incredible. I mean, it's just classic. It's just this is Duke. And you can see the 84 shot here. I love that Spirit Iron Knife. He's one of my top 5 figures in this whole line. He and Freedom, they look really cool together. But adding Duke here and going full retro, definitely the way to go. He looks great. Hey, here we go. A little bit more comic book love. Roadblock and Duke shouting out their boy Flint, who they know, even though Lady J has no idea who he is. Get this classic shot with Duke. I mean, dude, this dude, this figure is so good. And he was so much fun to pose and lead in missions and all this stuff. It's like one of the main core G.I. Joe leaders gets a figure that definitely fits in with more of the old school retro style takes on these figures we've been getting from G.I. Joe, from Hasbro. And he looks great. He got all the gear, so much fun. And people want accessories. He's got it covered. He can do all kinds of stuff. And again, that's a blast posing this dude. Let's get him into action. Let's shoot down the Rattler. He's coming next year. We got Roadblock. Let's make it happen. He can even hold the binoculars, reaching for that shovel, back to back with General Hawk. And just, I love having these guys together. There's our G.I. Joe leaders. So yeah, very fun. Number 3, Retro Duke. And since I've spoiled it already, I'm going retro again with some more figures. This one, maybe more than any of the other ones, I felt needed an upgrade because the first Scarlet figure was okay, but she looked too young. She didn't really fit in. As we got better figures, as the line continued to progress, articulation wasn't the best either. I was like, she's okay. But if you're going to redo figures, she needs one. And they really did a great job with Scarlet. Her head sculpt is perfect. And it just captures her personality so well. The colors look great. She got the holster there for her crossbow bolts. She's got her backpack. She's ready for action. She's got a ton of stuff. You can see all those accessories she comes with. Thicker card back for those of you curious about preserving it. And again, I love this head sculpt. It just captures her determination so well. We actually saw this before with Glinda, but we got to get this Scarlet figure out first. So you can see how that old classified series Scarlet looked. There's a lot going on with that design too, and it just doesn't look as good. It's just colors for the sake of colors. This is far more streamlined, and it just looks better, looks cleaner. She looks cool, and she's got different options in terms of how you display her. Even here, the holster being onto her side as opposed to her back, which doesn't really work well. There's just so many improvements. And if you'll notice here, I took out the ponytail, what you could do. So if you want to go fully, truly retro and have that original look for Scarlet without the ponytail, it's an option. You can make it happen right there for yourself, which I thought was really cool. And then she's got 2 different versions of the ponytail, one where it's kind of raised up, and then you got a more relaxed version. So she's got a lot of options. The only thing wrong with this figure is this way too tiny pistol. I mean, she couldn't pull that trigger with her pinky. That's a little wild that they included it and didn't really properly account for the size it needed to be. But Scarlet is an absolute great figure. So much fun. Getting into it again with Clutch. If you did not read the comic book back in the day, you won't appreciate the rivalry between Clutch and Scarlet, which was really fun and great to have. And playing out, it was really cool. And so she's got all kinds of articulation. She can hit all these poses with her crossbow, pull out her pistol. She can do it all. It's time for some Marvel in-game all girls shot here so people can get triggered and upset. There's women's inside. They all look cool. I love making that shot, putting it together. Scarlet's loaded up. You can see here's all the weapons and accessories she comes with, and she can store most of it too, so that's great. But yeah, it was so much fun getting Scarlet into the line with a figure of her worthy of the first G.I. Joe female figure. She's awesome. And again, you can see how much fun I had posing her out with all the different Joes, the original 13 members, and just having a blast doing that. She's really fun. There you go. Classic, old school, original 13. We've got Clutch. We got Snake Eyes. We got Rock and Roll, who's getting a retro next year. Stalker, who got his retro this year. Grunt and Breaker and Scarlet. So very fun. And I thought she was well deserving of my number 2 slot. So Everything else might shake out a different way, but hers number 2 is solid, which meant I was very happy with my number 1 choice. And this one, probably not a surprise to a lot of you. I'm wondering how many of you all have this guy as your number 1 as well. This retro Cobra Commander. I mean, could it be anyone else for me? This is awesome. I mean, he's got the colors down. He looks sinister and ready to go. The chrome faceplate made it all but a lock that he was going to be my top choice. It adds so much to this guy, and he's so fun. He's got the hairdryer gun, and again, that chrome faceplate really adds something to him. It's just such a fun little tweak. Once again, I didn't mind this first version. The Classified Series Cobra Commander, the original one, was good. Again, for the new generation, the new era of Cobra and G.I. Joe, he was fine. But this here, this is classic Cobra Commander, and it's done so well. It's just beautifully done, executed so smoothly. He's got a ton of stuff too, lots of hand gestures or hands that you can use to convey his commands to his troopers. Get over here. And he's just fun. You got so many Cobra troopers, different legions of Cobra. Get them all in line, CG. And now he's got the Cobra troopers. He's leading them into battle, and he's right. He's got great articulation as well. And you can see he's got a ton of stuff. I know some people like me were like, hey, where's the hood? I'm not offended. Let's get Cobra Commander with that hood. Hopefully that's something we can get next year. But a really great addition to the Classified Series line. He's number 1. Absolutely. You better believe it, dude. You are indeed number 1 with my Classified Series figures for 2024. And let me see. I think I got a few more pictures. Here he is with the high command. I want to make sure I threw all of them in here that I had at that moment. Got Scrap Iron, Dr. Mindbender, Destro, the one figure I think needs to be a little bit taller, Baroness Firefly, Storm Shadow, Major Blood, Zartan, and the Crimson Twins, those turncoats everywhere he looks. And then here we go. We got Cobra Commander sending his legions of Cobra Troopers off to rule the world. And just a great figure. I am so happy with that guy. Classified Series, of course, always does great work, but I think adding that chrome faceplate took him to another level. And it's just like, I was not ready for it. They just delivered big time and a great figure to add to the collection. I did mention it earlier. I kind of teased which vehicle would be my top 1. When this was announced, it was an absolute no-brainer. You've already heard me say I was a big fan of the comic book. Still am a big fan of the comic book. Larry Hama's continuing to do great work over at Skybound under the Image banner. And Chris Mooneyham, doing some really good stuff. Paul Pelletier doing amazing work on the Real American Hero title that's still going. And definitely recommend picking it up. Right now, we got the War of Cobra playing out. It's been good. But my favorite vehicle from this year, and there were some good options, not a bad one. I have all of them on my shelf, was the Vamp. Could it be anything else? This was one of those where I was like, oh man, whatever way you can figure it out to make this work. We need the Vamp and we need Clutch. We got both. I think they really pulled it off. Great engineering on this thing. So much fun. Got the suspension so you can kind of push down on it. And you can see the ferret in the background. Another really good figure. Good vehicle combination there. A ton of stuff came into this figure. And it wasn't easy to do a repaint and just say, hey, here's your stinger. We've got this all set up already, so you don't need anything more. Clutch has great personality with his head sculpt. Got some tattoos, and that makes sense for a guy like him. And another member of the original 13. Don't think we need a retro version of him because I think he's really solid. They did good work. And I'm kind of digging this helmet that they're using with everybody now. Wasn't quite sure what I was feeling, but yeah, I dig it. Clutch is ready for action. He's ready to go. But let's see how that Vamp looks. And this is really cool. You can do this army builder with that particular helmet too. And there's so much involved with the Vamp, and it's just great. So fun, especially once I figured out how to put those gun bullets set up in there properly. And you can just do so much with this. It is like amazing. And Roadblock lifted it up there. So great. And the Stinger, I knew I was going to like because I love the Vamp. But this was so cool to have all of this into the figure and do stuff like this moment from the Revenge of Cobra where Lady J is driving the Vamp with her foot while she's taking aim to take out Cobra Commander. Snake Eyes using the guns to take out some more Cobras. Really great. Here is the setup there with the full original 13 I have at that point. Grunt, Stalker, Rock and Roll, Snake Eyes, Clutch, and Scarlet. And love this vehicle. What a great year for a classified series line. They did some amazing stuff. That retro Flint might be locked into my number one figure for next year, but I think Heavy Duty's going to have something to say about it. Some other characters, whatever they're doing with the mass device, definitely has my attention. I can't wait to see what's in store for classified series for 2025. But that was my list for my favorites, my top 10 classified series of 2024. And with that, I'm all wrapped up and done for videos for you all for 2024. I really wanted to get that X Factor one done, but I did not. So look for it really soon. I will be back on for another live. Still got to talk to the fellas to see if we're going to do a Lyle's Movie Files tomorrow after they recover from New Year's. But for sure, I'll be back on Thursday for our regularly scheduled live Thursday night Lyle's Figure Files. But for now, for 2024, this episode of Lyle's Figure Files has been filed. Happy New Year!